This is Coffee with God, and I am Father Jose. Let us begin this day with the Word of God and a short reflection.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 5, verses 1 to 11. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. Once, when he was standing on the shore of Lake Gennesaret, the crowd was pushing in on him to better hear the word of God. He noticed 2 boats tied up. The fishermen had just left them and were out scrubbing their nets. He climbed into the boat that was Simon's and asked him to put out a little from the shore. Sitting there, using the boat for pulpit, he taught the crowd. When he finished teaching, he said to Simon, "Push out into deep water and let your nets out for a catch." Simon said, "Master, we've been fishing hard all night and haven't caught even a minnow. But if you say so, I'll let out the nets." It was no sooner said than done. A huge haul of fish, straining the nets past capacity. They waved their partners in the other boat to come help them. They filled both boats, nearly swamping them with the catch. Simon Peter, when he saw it, fell to his knees before Jesus. "Master, leave. I'm a sinner and can't handle this holiness. Leave me to myself." When they pulled in that catch of fish, all overwhelmed Simon and everyone with him. It was the same with James and John, Zebedee's sons, co-workers with Simon. Jesus said to Simon, "There is nothing to fear. From now on, you'll be fishing for men and women." They pulled their boats up on the beach, left them, nets and all, and followed him.
Reflections on the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 5, verses 1 to 11. Today, Christians of all denominations jointly enter into a time of prayer and action for protecting our planet, our common home, through the celebration of the season of creation, which will end on October 4th, feast day of St. Francis of Assisi. And today's Gospel speaks of Jesus going on to the boat of Peter, sits down and begins to teach the people. The evangelist creates this scene to transmit a theological message. Not only during the Sabbath liturgy on Saturday and in the settings and places of worship that Jesus proclaims the Word of God. He proclaims in all contexts. He meets people where they are at work. Jesus wants the gospel to be shared with people in their actual life situations. Jesus sits on Peter's boat. The symbolism is obvious. The boat represents the Christian community. On the boat, there are no exceptional, holy, perfect people. There are good people, but also sinful. However, despite being occupied by sinners, it is from this boat that the Word of God is proclaimed. Action follows the proclamation of the Word. On the orders of the Master, the disciples are invited to cast their nets for a catch. It is the Christian community who, animated by the gospel message, is dispersed through the streets of the world to carry out its mission to put out to the deep for a catch. But Peter is not convinced yet. His experience would tell him that it is not the proper time to fish. Human logic would suggest him to give up, but he trusts. He prefers to obey. Many times, this is also the experience of people who are involved in preaching the gospel. In spite of the best efforts, we might feel frustrated that we have no results. Gospel reminds us to just have trust. After the miraculous catch, Simon throws himself at Jesus' feet and declares his own unworthiness. "Leave me, Lord, for I am a sinful man," he says. This used to be the response of different people who encountered the Lord. Moses covered his face because he was afraid. Elijah covered his face with his mantle. Now, Peter also feels sinful and confesses his unworthiness. This brings to us the central theme of the passage. The main reason why Luke recounts the episode is to make it clear to the disciples of his community about the mission to which they are called, to be fishers of people. In the Bible, the waters of the sea are a symbol of the powers of evil, the forces that lead to death. And the mission of the church is to pull out people from their hopeless condition of being engulfed by violence and hatred, war and moral corruption, all the powers of evil that destroys God's beautiful creation.